once upon a time, but now there are fairies. Remember the fluffy white clouds that look like so many different animals as they drifted across the blue sky? Sometimes you imagine yourself passing through, and fingers and tails and many more things. There are fairies there. Have you seen them? Muggins and Puggins have. Muggins and Puggins just knew that there were fairies. For since always Mother Darling and Father Dear had told them stories about fairies. But Mother Darling always said, once upon a time there were fairies. And if Puggins or Muggins asked when, or where, or how about the fairies today, Mother Darling never seemed to know what to tell them. Maybe she didn't know so much about the fairies after all, thought Puggins. Or perhaps it had been so long since she was a little girl, and now she was having a case of fairy forgetting trouble, thought Muggins. One day, Muggins and Puggins decided to go adventuring and try to discover for themselves just what the fairies had been doing since once upon a time. Puggins packed some stones away in his pocket, just in case they met giants instead of finding fairies. And Muggins filled her pocket with 1 or 2 or 3 sugar cookies. For if the fairies aren't hungry, said she, before very long, we're sure to be. And then they put on their old wandering shoes, the stuffed brown ones that didn't seem to mind being muddy, and away they went. Puggins thought they ought to take the road to the hilltop first, for maybe if they went up that high, they could get a glimpse of a fairy or two. And if they couldn't, Puggins promised to climb to the top of the tree so that he could see even better. When they got to the top of the hill and looked, there were no fairies. So Puggins helped Muggins up the tree and they looked again. But still, there were no fairies. Muggins and Puggins looked at the white winding road and the other gleaming white birds that wound over the countryside and made the world look like a big green package tied up in silver ribbons. Maybe the fairies did that, said Muggins. But Puggins remembered the big machines and the big men who had built the ribbon, and they weren't his idea of fairies. Muggins looked back and looked. And so did Puggins. The birds in the trees and all about them were singing, and one song was special and beautiful. They looked up to see who the singer might be, and there, at the very top of their tree, sat a robin, singing and chirping and filled with glee. Suddenly she stopped, right in the middle of a chirp, and she asked Muggins and Puggins what they were doing in their trees. They answered together, "We're looking for the fairies." Robin sang back to them that fairies couldn't be found in the same way that people and other lost things were. But she promised that if they could catch a special note that she was singing, it would carry them to the piano picture, who knows where and how to find all of the fairies in the world, and even more. Muggins and Puggins held out their hands to catch the note that Robin sang promising. But when they did this, the robin began to laugh. And if you've ever heard a bird laugh, you know what a funny, peculiar sound it is. For it isn't like a quack, and it isn't like a gobble, or even like a cluck. Just a sort of cackled chirp. Muggins and Puggins were so surprised by the robin's laugh that they dropped their hands and opened their mouths in amazement. Now that was just exactly what the robin wanted them to do, for she told them they never could catch a note in their hands, but they had to hold their mouths open and let the note get caught in their throats. Puggins and Muggins were afraid for a moment that she might drop some worms into their mouths, just as she did when her babies were hungry. But I guess that Mother Robin didn't have any worms to waste on people who didn't want them, for immediately she began to sing a note, which caught in Muggins' throat, and then in Puggins' throat, and then these two sang the note together. In half of a little bit, Robin flew away. Puggins thought that she had gone after the piano pixie, and he forgot that he wasn't a bird, and flew away after her. But scratch, bang went Puggins, as he brushed against the branch, and then tumbled to the ground. "Oh!" cried Muggins. "Ow!" cried Puggins, as he scrambled to his feet. Luckily, he had landed on some nice soft green grass, and he wasn't hurt, just a little bump. But alas, in the excitement, he and Muggins had forgotten to hold the magic note, and now they feared that they couldn't find the piano pixie, and their fairy search would be spoiled. Muggins climbed down from the tree, and they went off to find their robin friend again. Puggins and Muggins left the road to wander in the meadows, and by the end of the afternoon they had wandered so far that they didn't remember how to go home. Muggins burst into tears and cried, "We're lost! We're lost!" But Puggins decided to think instead, for he knew that if they could find the piano pixie and she could show them the way to the fairies, that perhaps some of the other fairies would help them find their way home. Puggins thought that if he and his sister would open their mouths wide and close their eyes tight and wish very hard, maybe somehow the lost note would come back. So that's what they did. And certainly, yes, it was a lucky thought. For when they weren't looking, they heard their robin friend sing again, and they caught the magic note as she flew away. This time, Muggins and Puggins took turns holding the note, for they thought that this would be the best way not to lose it. During Muggins' third turn at note holding, they heard a new sound, very soft and tinkling, and louder. Muggins and Puggins jumped up to see where the music came from, but they saw only meadows. And then the music began to grow soft, then loud, then soft, seemed to be running away, as it tried to say, "It's the piano pixie, I know," laughed Muggins. They tried to follow her sound, and after listening for a little while, they heard her say, "Oh, piano pixie, said Muggins and Puggins in a chorus. That's such a lovely thing you promised to do for us. But now it's getting dark, and we don't know how to go home. We must hurry there, or Mother Darling will worry, and Father will despair. The piano pixie told Muggins and Puggins that there were many ways to go home. But since it was so late, she felt that she would send them home very fast as possible. Muggins and Puggins jumped up and down in excitement, while waiting for the piano pixie to tell them just which way was the fastest. And then the piano pixie played a song to the shooting stars. Told Muggins and Puggins to close their eyes and jump just as high as they could. And when they did this, the strangest thing happened. They didn't come down, but landed on a new kind of something. When they tried to open their eyes, they discovered that the lids were locked down tight, so that they couldn't see what the something was. Muggins hugged Puggins, for she was a little frightened. And as they sat down together on the something, it felt very warm and cozy. They heard the piano pixie bidding them goodbye, and then their tummies began to feel the strangest feeling, just as they had felt once when Daddy took them riding on the big rolling coaster. In a minute, they heard the biggest wind in the world, howling right past their ears. Muggins had just started to ask Puggins what he supposed this might be, and the warm, comfy thing dumped them both down, right in the middle of their own garden. By the time they could get their eyes open, the very fastest kind of travel thing had vanished. It was dark night, and when Muggins and Puggins looked into the house, they saw Mother Darling getting their supper ready, and they heard Daddy Dear saying, "Did you see that beautiful shooting star that just fell? It seemed to fall right into our own garden."